Hey everybody, thanks for picking up the business planning guide. I'm Chris Blakeman and I'm going to walk you through the embroidery business planning guide here in the video. Much like the other videos, this one's designed to help you go through the workbook with me together so that we can get your business plan in order. And I'm going to walk you through some very basic steps to get started. This is definitely a planning coursework for those of you that are just getting started. Or maybe you've gotten started and you're like maybe a year into your business, half a year into your business, and you want to do some more formal planning and have some goals and make sure that you're setting yourself up for success. So in the preface, I encourage you to read through this whole preface. I'm going to give you a quick outline. Basically, creating a business plan can be as complex as you want it to be. You can make a business plan very in depth, and you can look at some very detailed numbers. There's some great reports out there. There's some amazing things you can do with business planning, but you really need to consider the scope, okay, of what you're doing. Now, if you're looking to start a home-based embroidery business and maybe make $40,000, $50,000 a year, or something in that range, maybe a little bit less, maybe a little bit more, it really doesn't require that sophisticated of a business plan to get started. And much like anything, the most important thing is to get started and begin learning and executing and then changing your plan as it goes, because this plan will probably have some changes to it based on the experiences you have as you execute your business plan and run your business, okay? So commonly, people get too wrapped up in this, and it's called analysis by paralysis. They spend so much time pontificating, looking at things, considering things, reading reports, that they never actually really get around to doing anything, which is the most important part about business, is action and taking action. So I would encourage you to do your business plan, but I would hope that in buying this package, you've already taken the step of getting a machine, setting up your space, and begun learning the things around becoming an embroiderer so that you can start your business. That's the most ideal situation. Just to give you a little bit of background, I have a formal degree in business planning. I've written lots of business plans. I've had formal education on writing business plans. I've written sophisticated business plans, very antiquated business plans, and I can tell you, just like before, there's definitely a spectrum there, okay? So the benefit here is that you can go ahead and take advantage of the knowledge that I've built over the years to write your basic business plan to get started, and I'm gonna help you with that. My background in starting a business, the first business I really started making money was actually buying sewing machines on Craigslist, private party, and then reselling them on eBay after refurbishing them for a much higher markup, okay? And I used that money to actually pay for school and pay for my tuition to get through business college so I could learn as much as I could to start my own business and get started. After I left college, I started my first business probably about 2 to 3 months after I was done. Paid off my student loans that were remaining. I had a little bit of student loans because I had to take out a few loans to finish my senior year because it was really expensive to do that. And what I would tell you is that there's a lot of education out there you can get without going to university. And if I knew then what I know now, I would probably do things differently, honestly. But I have learned a lot. I value my education. And so that's kind of like my first business. I used to run lemonade stands. I used to mow lawns. I threw newspapers from a very young age. I started little businesses to make money. The eBay business was something that I kind of first did where I actually made significant money, where I had to pay taxes and that sort of thing. And that was when I was about 20 years old, okay? So I spent a lot of time at Colorado State University in the business department. And what I found is that a lot of people that are going to instruct you on writing business programs really do like to make them very profound and very drawn out, and do some very interesting things with business planning and look at very interesting numbers, which again, I don't think there's necessarily anything wrong with that in some cases, but for the type of business you're starting, I wouldn't recommend it. And so when I started my first retail business out of college, started with nothing, built it up from the ground up through my own sales, through my own elbow grease basically, and was able to expand, acquire other businesses, liquidate a few other businesses, and scale to a reasonable sized operation with lots of employees. Okay, when I say lots of employees for a small business, we run anywhere from 30 to 40 employees currently. Okay, For a small business like you, the advantage is that you can start with no employees from home and begin your business, which is pretty phenomenal. And this is great news for everybody that's hearing this video and going through this guide with me, because I'm going to give you some advice here and some tips and some information that's really going to help you be successful and set your plan so that you can set things into motion and take some action for sure. Okay, so in the workbook, we're going to go step by step through about 10 different things. So it's a 10-step planning process that we're going to cover. And the main idea is to get you in the direction you need to go and start taking action. Okay, and what you're going to find too is that this is fun, because you're going to be able to lay some things out that you know actually are pretty solid once you see it on paper, and then execute on it and do it and see the results and see some positivity coming from your ideas. And the synthesis of ideas and creativity into actual positive physical things happening is probably the best thing you can do as a human being. It's amazing and it's very fulfilling. So congratulations. You get to do this work, you get to be an entrepreneur by taking these steps. So the first thing we're going to look at is purchasing an embroidery machine. The number one thing you want to do if you're going to start an embroidery business is you need an embroidery machine. So number one, you need to get a machine, okay? And this is really important. Obviously, I sell machines. You can get one from me. I have them in multiple different price ranges. We have different financing programs, 0% interest with equal payment. We have a lot of options, but the number one thing is get a machine. And I highly recommend that you learn your machine right away. When you get it, take advantage of our training programs. Take advantage of the service we offer after a machine sale to learn that machine at speed. Read the manual, watch the video files. Definitely buy a new machine from us so that you can go ahead and get the benefits of a warranty and a sound machine. There's a lot of reasons why you don't want to buy used machinery or machines that don't have support, because it's going to stop you from executing your business. And what you're going to find in business is that stepping over $1 to pick up a dime and maybe just saving a few bucks here or there actually costs you exponentially more money in the long run. It's actually less effective, it takes more time, and you can fail, okay? And that has a lot to do with things breaking down, not understanding things, creating poor quality products for your clients. It's just not a recipe for success. So the best thing to do is go with one of our new machine packages, absorb all the training, let us help you, and get rolling. And then you're going to want to learn the embroidery materials. You're going to want to learn about stabilizers, attachments, threads, all of those things that go into being an embroiderer. You're going to want to learn about design properties, and even a little bit about digitizing so that you understand how to get a good quality pattern for your client. Okay, and we have training around that for you as well. I'm not saying you should become a digitizer. I'm just saying that you should understand the properties of digitizing and what you should be looking for in high quality digitizing for the best results for your client. This is very important. We have a training for that for you. And that's part of getting an embroidery machine, is the learning process. Once you get an embroidery machine, you start a whole cycle of learning that's going to get you rolling in the direction of starting your business so that you can master that craft and trade and get that going. And with our help, it'll actually be a relatively short period of time when you have our help and our resources, so that you can start running a business, okay? And that's what we want to get to. And we're going to teach you about embroidery techniques as well. And that's another thing you want to learn and master, is how to do things like in the hoop applique, how to embroider on terry cloth, how to do t-shirt embroidery, embroidering on hats. The list goes on and on. And we want to help you with that, okay? Because you're going to get different client requests. You're going to have different ideas to propose to your clients and different estimations you want to write with these different techniques. And we're going to help you with that, okay? So you want to look at setting up a certain amount of time for administrative work, okay? You're actually going to, the second step, okay, this is the number one thing. We're going to look at the second step, okay? So number two, and some of you are going to see in my videos, I actually don't have great handwriting, but I still like to write this stuff out for everybody. And of course, we have the workbook, and I'm going to discuss it with you. I'm just going to put that out there so you see that. So I apologize up front. So step two is planning time for your samples. Okay, So displays at craft shows, bazaars, your in-store setup, maybe you've got some grid wall or some pegboard or something, you're gonna put it up. High quality pictures for your website. When you do presentations with your clients in their office or their organizations, you're actually going to be showing these samples. You need these samples available for your marketing and sales purposes. So you need to create an inventory of samples, and you need to schedule that time out so you're making samples on a regular basis. Okay, and this is an ongoing process in an embroidery shop. If you're not making samples regularly, it's hard to be learning new techniques or learning techniques, perfecting the process, and also having a good range of things to show your clients so you can write estimations and really impress them when you show up for your presentations or meetings with clients, or if they come to your office or you go to their office. These samples are your lifeblood of the business. It's your portfolio, and you need to build out your portfolio on a regular basis. So we want to schedule that time out. So you want to go ahead and just iron out some time every week. You'll see in the workbook, there's going to be a spot for that, how many hours you're going to go ahead and commit. So the third step is you're going to set financial goals and look at logistics. So you really want to look at your monthly personal income goal. How much money are you making now? How much money do you want to make? Are you replacing an income right now? How much money do you need basically for you to be secure? Pay your bills, be liquid, save money. You need to be saving some money. They say that saving anywhere from 10 to, this is what I do. I save about 10 to 15% of my normal income so that I can go ahead and take that savings and reinvest it in places that will make more money. This is just a good plan, and this should be part of your financial plan. And you should, especially if you have a job and you're replacing it with this business, you should look at replacing that income with your business and even improving it if possible. And then you're going to go ahead and set an annual income goal based on that monthly goal, based on the budget that you put together. Once you see what your fixed costs are, maybe there's some variable costs in there for your personal life, and then saving money. And of course, savings is always good for emergencies as well. If you have family members to take care of, you need to account for that too. And there may be family members you need to take care of in the future, and you need to know, are you putting back enough money to help them maybe as well? College for children, health care for aging parents maybe, things like that. So you want to really consider that kind of stuff. And so you're also going to set aside time for your administrative work or your office work, okay? And we're looking at these financial and logistical goals, and time is a big piece of this. And what you're going to find out is time is your most valuable asset. I will say it is your most valuable asset. So we're looking at your financial goals and your administrative schedule. Okay? So we've got your financial goals, administrative schedule. So we want to look at on a weekly basis, when you do your administrative work or office work, how many days a week are you doing that? And how many hours are you committing to that? Okay, because you're committing time to samples, you're committing times now for your administrative work or your office work when you're sitting down, filing paperwork, doing follow-up, all the things you need to do to work in your business and work on your business. There's two different things there. When you're working in your business, you're doing tactical things, taking care of things, handling things. Working on your business means doing strategic things, okay? So you may even want to consider that in your administrative time that you set aside. We also want to set aside time for your marketing strategies and how to execute them. And for you, the beautiful thing about your marketing strategies is a lot of it has to do with networking, creating relationships, or working on getting your samples and what you do in front of people that need it. And so you're not really investing that heavily in advertising in the majority of cases. And when you look at the case studies and the interviews I put together for you in this business package, you're going to hear from multiple professionals in there with years of experience in embroidery business. These are phenomenal interviews. These are phenomenal case studies where they talk about how they spend zero money in some cases on marketing expenses around advertising, because advertising is different than marketing, and they're phenomenally successful with they make six figures. They have great embroidery shops. They have employees, multiple machines. I'm not saying that's where you should go. Some of you I know want to just have a home-based cottage business. That's great. You can totally do that and actually make a good living. But you will find that setting time aside for your marketing has a lot more to do with planning around relationships and meeting new people for you. And so that's going to be another part of that. And then we're going to set aside time to actually do direct selling. Doing direct selling is also different than marketing because this is the process of going out, meeting these clients, creating relationships with them or enhancing the relationship you already have with them, presenting to them, and then closing on offers and deals to make sales happen, okay? So we're talking about direct selling activities as being part of this schedule as well, all right? And you're gonna see in this part of the worksheet, we have a spot for that so you can iron out your plan, okay? How many hours do you have in a week? And how many hours are we gonna iron out for this stuff? Making your samples, doing your marketing, working on administrative work. And this is the reason why plans change, is because the nature of these things will change based on your local economy, your client base, what you have going on in your shop. So that's why it's important we actually look at these things and put them down on paper and then make changes as we go, because you're gonna find out there's certain things you need more time for and other things you don't, okay? And you're gonna have to find that out for yourself and make the adjustments because it's different for everybody and everybody's different. Everybody's business is different. So we're gonna look at time set aside on a weekly basis to produce product. And this is gonna change too. This is another reason why your schedule will change, because you will get orders, right? And when you do the direct selling and you actually follow the steps in my workbook on selling, you will get orders. I guarantee if you do everything the way I say to do it in there, you will get orders, and that will affect your schedule. And you're gonna have to adjust your weekly schedule so you have production time. Unless you hire someone to do production for you, then you're scheduling their time. So you're always scheduling any time around your business operations. That's the whole point of this, is to get your head around time. As an entrepreneur, is you have to schedule your time and manage your time. It's really important, or else your business will control your time for you. You won't really have a direction sometimes, and you're actually gonna waste time. And that costs a lot of money and can cost you your business as well. So this is very important. Total amount of time set aside to work on your business. So you should set aside at least a small amount of time on a regular basis where you can work on your business. This means maybe putting up shelves for things. It means hiring new people or looking at job applications to hire people and training new people. This is working on your business, where you're working on things that are infrastructure or things that kind of work for you in your business, right? So working on your business means infrastructure and setting things up to work. And sometimes when you're just getting started, you may have to set aside a little bit more time for this. As far as laying out your materials, getting your machine set up, getting your space set up, that's working on your business. Another example that might be like you become successful. Maybe you land one really big client, and this happens. I know people this happens to. They land a government, an organization, or a company that needs a lot of embroidery, and now all of a sudden they have to expand and get bigger space. They have to move their whole operation, and that's working on your business. That's important, right? To make sure that your business structurally is sound. So the next thing we're looking at is the external environment and finding your niche, okay? Step 4, we're gonna look at the external environment, okay? And this is part of pretty much any business plan is external environment. And so for us, us starting a small business without, we're not creating like a crazy huge business or something, but it's like a single person starting a business. What that means is that we're gonna go ahead and find our niche. Okay, a niche is a focused group of potential clients or customers that we can really focus on, that not a lot of other people are serving, so that we can go in and sell our products for good prices, sell our services for good prices with the margin that we need to achieve our financial goals. So we're going to look at the external environment. And find our niche. Okay? So what that means is, we're going to go ahead and make some lists here. We're going to kind of try to define our customer, which in marketing terms, that means an avatar. It's kind of like the general picture of the person or what they might be like, or what those people might be like, those groups. So what are their special interests? Are we looking for service businesses? Maybe you want to go and do custom embroidery for mechanic shops, maid services, anywhere that has like an apron, like a boutique or a beauty salon, any of those places where they need branding services and they're in a service-based business that's customer-faced, and that organization or business can benefit from their employees' uniforms. So anywhere that has a uniform being branded, right? That's one niche idea. There's a lot of different niche ideas, and you'll see that in the Getting Started workbook. I have a whole list for you of different niche groups that you can go ahead and target and look at. You can just take one of those names right out of mine and just try it out. If you don't like working with that niche market, pick another one. and start fulfilling orders for them. Okay, you have a lot of different options. Weddings are a big deal. You could just do weddings, events, that sort of thing. There's a lot of options for you as a custom embroiderer, and it's actually pretty great because you're serving a creative product to people that's really unlike anything else, where you can cater to their needs and you can cater to what they need with the blanks, your embellishments, and of course your service that comes along with it when you personally visit them and make sure that the finished product of your custom goods are up to spec for the customer. You can't get that from the internet. You can't get that from the bigger places, you know, in the big city that's miles away. It's really difficult. And so that's why custom embroidery is kind of its own special thing as far as starting a business. And if you listen to the interview with Jennifer Cox on this business package from the NNEP, the National Network of Embroidery Professionals, and she talks about how big the industry is. The embroidery industry is over a $7 billion a year industry, and it's like $3.7 billion, she said, is actually made up of home embroiderers like you, or cottage businesses probably like you. And so there's tons of home-based embroiderers that serve people locally because the nature of the custom work and the personal touch that it takes. So that's something that's great for your avatar. You want to look at possible gender attributes. That plays a big role, right? Culturally, as far as like the types of products you're serving them. Like if you were doing weddings, you'd want to look at what do you embroider on wedding dresses maybe, or what do you embroider on the tuxedos. Those would be different things maybe if you're doing those kinds of embellishments based on the gender role. And then you're also going to look at the avatar general age demographic. What's the average age? And these are things you can Google or look up really quick. We're trying to look at their age, okay, for this external environment overview, basically. So we know what kind of culture they come from, because each generation has its own set of cultural values, and we want to be hyper aware of cultural values with our customer avatar, okay? It's really important. What's the economic background like? Are you picking a niche that has a good enough economic background to buy your product at scale? I highly, highly recommend really thinking about this and looking at if you have a customer avatar that's affluent. Are you dealing with customer avatars that have a good amount of money that want custom goods from you, because it's kind of a luxury to have custom made embroidery on something? And so it's definitely something to look at. Are you serving an economically healthy market? If not, if it looks like it's economically unhealthy, you should probably rethink the niche a little bit, or maybe the location of the niche, and try to make a different decision there. The geographic location. So you're operating in your home, you know you need to do personal services, you're gonna need to present your samples to them. Is your niche market and your customer avatar close to your shop? Are they in your local area? Okay, this is really important to consider. And are there other attributes that merit notating? Are there other special things as you think about this? Maybe do some Googling and type in some Google searches about your customer avatar that pop up, that you see that it's like that's something worth noting, that people in this area, in this age range, are affected by fill in the blank, or are generally of the opinion that fill in the blank. Those things are worth notating, and those things are worth knowing, okay? Intrinsic values. So what do they care about the most? Intrinsic means inside. What does your customer care about the most inside? You want to know what that is, okay? And then you're going to go ahead and name your avatar group. What are you servicing? What are we looking to do? And the beauty of this, again, is you can always change this. Change is a constant thing in life. It's things are always changing. I was just talking to somebody about this actually, and change is so constant that you don't have to get married to ideas. You don't have to get married to a customer group necessarily when you're in such a custom-based business and you have so many different options. If you start serving a customer group, do your best job. Serve them the best product and give them the best service. And if you find it's not something you're really passionate about, you should definitely change to a different group. Because if you're going to be an entrepreneur, you're going to work a lot more than like a normal job on your business. So you want to have the passion, so you have the endurance to work that extra time because you're enjoying it. So you really should be passionate and enjoy what you're doing. And if you do, it's not going to be work. You're actually going to feel really good about it. And that has to do with the customers you're serving too. They play a big part into that. Okay, so you want to look at organizations, clients, or other business clients that you can look at to network within that niche, or find more people connected to that niche. And maybe in the process of networking, you decide to change your niche because you find another great customer group. Okay, there's nothing wrong with that, like we said. So here we have in our worksheet some groups that are recommended that you can get in touch with locally. In like 90% of cases, your Chamber of Commerce, Kiwanis, the Optimist Clubs, BNI, Business Networking International, SCORE workshops, Rotary Club is a big one. These are all great groups for you to join when you become a business owner or an entrepreneur, to meet other people like you, because they'll want to help you. When people are alike, they want to help each other. Okay, so you want to go find those people, because even if they're not directly a customer of yours, they're probably going to know someone that is. So make sure you have business cards ready to hand to them and let them know, hey, if you know somebody, have them contact me. If you have a friend or a family member that might need some custom embroidery, maybe they do events, they're having a party, is there anybody you know? And if they're like, so they're going to think about this, and say, I don't really know anybody right now. And what you want to respond to that question with when you're getting a referral is, if you did know somebody, who would it be? Okay, you're kind of asking a second time, and it's a selling strategy. Is you always want to ask extra times for things in different ways that are comfortable for people, potential clients, or when you're getting referrals. And many times they're going to say, oh, you know what? Now that I've thought about it, because they had a chance to think about it, this person is having an event, or this person does own a business, and they might want custom embroidery. And you want to tell them right away, oh, okay, what's their name and what's their phone number? Do you think I could go ahead and contact them? And maybe you could let them know before I contact them. And do you know 2 other people maybe? Always ask for 2 others, so you're getting like a list of maybe 3 people from somebody. And that's what networking events are great for, is building out some referrals, okay? Especially with people that are like you, like other business people. They know who you are, they want to see that you're successful, and they see themselves in you a little bit, and so they're vested a little bit in your success and they care. Okay. Other kind of good businesses to look at right away, if you want to start right away, these are some examples and some recommendations. Local screen printing shops. Local screen printing shops actually get requests for embroidery on a regular basis, and they don't always have an embroidery machine. They specialize in screen printing, maybe t-shirts or other items with ink. And so they're not always going to be the ones that do the embroidery. They're actually looking to contract work out, and their contractors are usually pretty busy, and they could add you to their group of contractors, or they might not have any contractors, and you might be the embroiderer for them. And one good printing shop that becomes your client could just be the business you get right away. So I'd highly recommend, if you want business right away, definitely contact some local screen printing shops. Local sign companies, that's another venue of branding services. Sign companies make signs for their businesses. They create branded merchandise and things like that. And embroidery is a branding service that they might not have in their arsenal that they want to add, and that they might be able to use you for and subcontract that out. So you can start creating orders right away. Other larger embroidery shops, you might think that other embroidery shops could be your competition, when in actuality they're serving so many custom markets that they're a lot of times behind schedule. They need help fulfilling orders, and so having an extra hand or an extra contractor like you to work with is something that's very beneficial. So making an in-person visit to another embroidery shop, or calling them or reaching out to them, definitely I'd recommend in-person visits. Give them a business card and introduce yourself. Plan on visiting these groups or places and collecting as many business cards as you can from them and handing yours out as well. Okay, craft fairs, bazaars, other shows, doing booth sales is a great way to start selling embroidery right away. If you want to do that as part of your niche, go ahead and plan on doing some of those. Look up the local bazaars in your area, craft shows, where you can bring custom embroidered gifts, maybe even possibly your machine to do custom embroidery. I have clients that bought machines from me that do $2,000, $3,000, $4,000, $5,000 plus dollars at these bigger craft shows, or even at just normal craft shows. And all they do is go to craft shows on a monthly basis, and that's what they create their samples for, and they create their products for to resell. And so that's a whole strategy as well that works really well. Any other events where custom embroidery can be sold, like races, like a 5K, maybe doing custom embroidered handkerchiefs. Concerts are great. Concerts are a great venue to go and sell custom embroidered goods for that niche or that avatar. Maybe you like live music and concerts and you're going anyway. Well, you could create custom embroidered stuff for that. Maybe talk to the promoter and make sure it's okay. Get a little booth, something like that. And you can sell a lot at music venues. That's another great way to go. Etsy is also another great venue, and you'll see we do have a resource in this business planning guide by Dave Denard, Add to Cart Success. I highly recommend you get in touch with Dave. Look at some of his services and products around Etsy because he's an expert and he can really show you how to do that. But the main thing with Etsy is maybe starting an Etsy store because it costs nothing, and then creating a group of products and then going ahead and testing them based on themes and niches that you're trying to serve. So starting an Etsy store and then selling items that you're creating for a niche alongside on Etsy is a great way to be able to test from home without even calling on clients, just to see if you have a niche and you have something you're embroidering for that niche that works, putting it on Etsy and testing it. And when testing, I'd recommend testing a lot. I would actually recommend doing like 25 different things if you're gonna do it, and really, because you're taking that time and you're scheduling that time to go ahead and create samples anyway. Why not put up a bunch of Etsy listings to test them and see where it takes you, okay? So we're gonna keep moving forward here into step 5. All right, we're on step 5 in the workbook, and we're gonna look at planning your workspace and your materials, okay? So we're gonna go ahead and go to 5. I'm going to the blue marker now, and we're gonna plan workspace. And materials to get started. And again, this kind of stuff can change. Your workspace, your materials. You may find that you'll get all of these things, set up all of these things, and then as your business changes and things change, you're going to adjust. Again, that's why it's good to get started, not spend so much time on the business planning. I'm hoping that you're going through this video training, going through the workbook, and you're maybe taking 3 or 4 hours to go through this exercise. Maybe you take a whole day or weekend or something like that, but not longer than a couple of days. This is important stuff, but what's most important is that you get started, you start executing, and then shifting and adjusting to really make this stuff work for you. So there's a list of administrative office supplies. There's a checklist here that you can go through. I've pre-made it for you. These are basic office things. So you can either jump on Amazon, you can go down to Office Depot and get everything you need if you don't have it at home. Round up what you do have at home to make sure you have this stuff, and then move into your embroidery workstation. Okay, so make sure you got your machine, you've got your stand or fitted furniture going. You have a dedicated space for that. It's super important. Get your pegboard put up by it. Get your flat cutting area, so you have a nice, like a cutting table or an area where you can hoop, a nice flat area. Usually you're looking at around 33 inches in height or something that's like waist level to go ahead and do your flat hooping and do material cutting if you need to. If you're running a rotary cutter or something like that, or cutting stabilizers and things like that, you need a cutting station or prep station. Your custom frames, your magnetic hoops, your optional hoops if you do get any of that, or the hoops that come with the machine. A lot of people will put the pegboard up by the machine and then go ahead and hang their hoops up so they have them all laid out in size. They're easy to grab, easy to move forward. Your thread color assortment, you should make sure in advance you have like the top 50 to 100 types of colors so you're ready to rock and roll. You're making your samples, especially if you're making high quality samples to sell your custom embroidery. You don't want them to be in a bunch of different colors. You need to try to match the colors in the design to look really impressive. And especially if you're fulfilling orders, you want the right colors for the finished product for your customers, so you're delivering high quality goods to them, okay? So that's super important. Make sure you have your bobbin thread, these proper stabilizers. This is all listed out here along with the needles and everything. These are your basic things to get started. And again, you'll probably get some more stuff. There's probably some more gear that you'll end up needing for different jobs and things like that. It's the nature of custom work. Just like a carpenter gets custom tools, different types of woodworking things, different types of wood itself, and the wood shop becomes kind of an eclectic area of tooling and that sort of thing, okay? So overall, to start a home-based embroidery business, acquire your working assets. Your initial investment is usually low. Usually your initial investment to get started in a business like this is $10,000 to $20,000 in many cases, sometimes lower, depending on what you opt for. I recommend being in that $10,000 to $20,000 range, so you're getting the right machine, the right supplies, the right extra things that you need, attachments, cutting stations, things like that. And we can actually help you with that as far as rolling it all into one program. If you're gonna do financing at 0% equal payments, it's very hard in any industry to go ahead and get started with a business and get all your equipment and everything with no money down up front. And we do that for clients on a regular basis. So definitely talk to us. You're not looking at just a machine. You want your whole workspace. You need to plan out that whole workspace and get all your materials. We can help you with that. We have a package for this whole thing to get started, and that's what I would recommend. Again, because you don't want to step over $1 to pick up a dime. as you execute on these strategies and you do the tactical things that I'm teaching you, you're gonna find you're gonna be in positions where you don't have this stuff as you're executing and running your business, and you're just gonna have to go out and buy it anyway, and then you're just paying money out of your pocket right up front for that stuff. Whereas if you get it as a whole package and you opt for financing, if that's something you need, you are able to spread it out over a long period of time and use all those assets and resources to make money and pay for that stuff and put some money in your pocket. It's a huge advantage of financing. It's the same concept as people buying real estate with a loan to rent out multiple pieces of that property or doors, so to speak, and actually making money while the loan pays for itself. It's actually a real estate strategy as well that thousands of people employ for passive income. Okay, so step 6, we're going to pick the company name. You'd think that this is a step that would come earlier on, but we're going to go ahead and pick our company name now because we've had some thought around our customer. We've had some thought around our product. Maybe we've even made some samples and thought about what we're doing. You have more direction now. When you pick your name, you want to have that direction. So you pick a good name and a fun name. So step 6, we're going to go ahead and pick your name. Okay, so pick your name. We have a little exercise to go through here. What's the niche group you've selected? What's the avatar name of that group? What's special about your business? What's unique? And then let's look at some special facts where your business is located, maybe geographically, and what your avatars may identify with. So let's say you were doing weddings. We'll go back to that example. Let's say you're located in Florida, maybe in Miami. You could call yourself Embroidery by the Beach Marriage Services or something. Something like that. That's just an example. That's a poor example. But what you're going to do is write out about 4 different examples. Write out 4 different names considering these things. So you can come to a name. Like let's say you're doing just ball caps for sports teams. Like let's say you're just going to do a bunch of baseball coaches for whatever reason. You're very networked into baseball coaches. And let's say you're out in Colorado, right? Well, maybe you're going to do mountain caps for baseball. Mountain caps for baseball, right? So you're making caps, it's for baseball, you're in the mountains. Okay, and so basically that's pretty much going over your business name and setting up your business name, doing some brainstorming activities. So now we're going to look at step number 7. So let's look at step number 7. And we're looking at setting up a general administrative file system. So this is the setup for your file system. Okay, so setting up your file system is important because you need to have these things kind of ready in advance. So make sure you have these main file systems set up with these sub files underneath them. I've got a nice little file chart there for you and a system that you can use and just set up right away. And then again, you're going to change it over time. You may add files within the sub files. Within the main files, you may add a sub file. You may add a main file and add sub files to that. In some cases, some of these file systems are actually, you can make them digital using softwares. Hopefully you get into a customer relation management software, and hopefully you also maybe have QuickBooks or Peachtree or an accounting software where you can keep your bookkeeping files. Not a lot of people keep paper bookkeeping files in general. I have a little guide for that just in case, but I highly recommend just going ahead and getting yourself an accounting software to get started. A lot of it's pretty basic and easy. There's a lot of free resources out there for your accounting software. If you get a bookkeeper as you get started, maybe a few months in or so, and you get some sales going and that sort of thing, you may just keep these paper files and then go to your bookkeeper and then they can help you with this. It's up to you really how you set up your accounting. I would recommend if you get the sales going and you get the money coming in to get a bookkeeper for sure. The cost usually actually isn't that bad. You get to work with a professional and they keep a good file management with the accounting software for you. Okay, as far as customer files go, it's really important to keep good customer files. Okay, don't put this off. Don't just write orders and try to follow up with the same people all the time. Like as you build new clients and as you bring in new business and meet different people and things like that, you need to track them. You need to track what they order, how much they order, their information so you can market to them, like their phone number, email address, their physical address. These things are really important, and it's really good because it helps you service the customer better. There's a lot of options for CRM systems out there. You don't need a complicated one. You can get a very basic CRM system or customer relations management system. So step 8, we are cranking through this now, everybody. Step 8, we're going to set up federal tax identity. Step 8 is your EIN number. This is actually a lot easier than you think. Setting up your EIN number means that basically you're going to go to the IRS website, and then you're going to go ahead and click, start my new EIN. It's like a big button that's right there. The feds make it really easy to collect taxes, okay? And it's a step-by-step process they walk you through that's super easy. And they're actually going to give you a PDF form of your federal EIN number as soon as you finish the process. So setting up your EIN number is so easy. The first time I set one up, it took me 2 minutes, literally. You just need to go to the IRS website, irs.gov, really easy website, and you need a new EIN number, federal tax ID, okay? The next part is you're going to contact your local municipalities for resale licensing, sales taxation, and other required licenses. This can take a little bit longer sometimes, depends on where you're at, okay? This really depends on where you're at. So you're going to need your licensing, okay? So this is really important. So with licensing, you're going to go to your city, state, and county government. I've opened businesses in several different states now, and what I've found that's easy for taxation is just going to the county courthouse, wherever's closest to you. The county courthouse is where you get set up with your county taxes, and in my experience, they always have been able to point me to any other licensing that I need to go and obtain. Some states, it's all in the same courthouse, which is nice, or all in the same office. In some states, they're going to point you to like a city office or a state office where you got to get set up with those tax licenses as well. And always ask them, this is really important, always ask them, is there any other operating licenses I need in my state to operate a business, okay? And so these people are very willing to help. They're very friendly and helpful usually because they want to set you up to collect taxes. It's actually their job to collect taxes, and a new business is going to pay taxes, okay? So that's really important to go ahead and get that started, okay? Step 10, the last step. We are on the last step, right? Executing and taking steps to contact your possible clients, right? So we have talked about, this is the execution. Now we're ready to execution of client acquisition. It's my favorite thing. So execution of client acquisition. Okay, and what that means is we're going to go ahead and start talking to all of the people that we've made lists about, our niches, our groups. We're going to go out, we're going to meet with people, we're going to make phone calls, we're going to create relationships, we're going to show everybody our samples, and we're going to execute, right? And we're going to get after this stuff because we've done a lot of prep and setup. So I highly recommend now that you go into my selling workbook and the strategies behind selling and client acquisition. And that's why I recommend this first, and this training first, so we can go ahead and get rolling on that. So congratulations on getting through your business plan. I hope you've taken some time, done some brainstorming. Of course, go back and watch this video again if I mentioned something that you're like, oh, he said something about setup or about the file administration or something. Go right back and check it out. Feel free to contact us as well. We're here to help you, and we look forward to talking to you. And I really look forward to seeing you take on the next step, which is the selling activities and the selling basics. And if you follow the things that I tell you in there, you're going to get clients, you're going to sell product, and you're going to be a custom embroiderer. So I'm super happy for you and excited. And if you haven't gotten a machine yet, definitely contact us, because if you bought this package and you just made this whole plan, you need a machine now. So reach out to me so we can set you up. We've got multiple options. We've got the training for you. We've got the supplies. We've got the financing if you need it. We are here for you. Thank you.